A single whisper from a mysterious masked figure in Mos Eisley nearly changed the fate of an entire galaxy. This transmission covers the full tale of the Kubaz, known as Garindan as Zavor. Garindan's canon backstory shows a more reluctant Imperial agent than someone that we can peg as a villain. He was born on the Outer Rim planet Kubindi, located in a region called the Slice. The Kubaz are known to have impressive and very unique sensory abilities. They could essentially read other beings by smelling pheromones, they could sense weapons, and hear distant conversations with clarity. They have long snouts filled with teeth for hunting and eating insects. Garindan, when we first see him in A New Hope, is covered head to toe, including dark goggles over his eyes. Kubaz are ultra-light sensitive to the light emitted from yellow and red stars, so one must cover up on a planet like Tatooine with two of them. Garindan was part of a well-known clan that specialized in beetle farming, beetles being a desired food source by the Kubaz. His prominent clan allowed him a life of leisure filled with art and plenty of time to spend with his wife and children. When the Galactic Empire rose to power, they came to the planet to enslave the people. Instead of using force, they used deception. The Empire manufactured hard times for the planet, but made it look like the Rebel Alliance were the ones to blame. The Empire then came in claiming to be friends and saviors. Garindan was one of many who was chosen for supposed diplomatic training. Instead of becoming a diplomat, these chosen Kubaz were forced to work as spies for the Empire. They were chained up and brainwashed until compliance was all but guaranteed before being sent out on their various missions. He was sent to the backwater planet of Tatooine to gain whatever intel there was to gain for the Empire. He harbored great resentment for them and tried to stow away credits to eventually purchase transport home. He did what he had to for the Empire, but his heart was always with his family. His desires were pushed into action when he received a transmission from his daughter. His wife had died and the rest of his family was in danger. He knew he had to get home now. During the events of A New Hope, the local Imperial garrison put a bounty out on a pair of missing droids. Although Garindan was indentured to the Empire, it looks like he would be eligible for the reward if he were to track them down. I guess the Empire was desperate enough to retrieve them that balancing the books was not a major concern. He had set up a network of informants on the planet who were all looking for these wanted droids. Garindan called on all of his training as well as his natural Kubaz abilities to go on the hunt. He tracked an old man and a young farm boy along with some droids to Chalmun's Cantina. Using his heightened hearing, he was able to hear a deal be brokered with a well-known smuggler. He then made the call to the local Imperials. "I found the droids, Mos Eisley Spaceport, Docking Bay 94. The stormtroopers who would answer this call are the very ones that we see in a shootout with Han Solo before the Falcon takes off. Legends adds an interesting twist to this part of the story. Among the stormtroopers is a man called Davin Felth. Felth had become disillusioned with his service to the Empire and felt he was on the wrong side of history. During the shootout, he saw an opportunity to do what he considered a good thing. He would help this fleeing band escape. He took advantage of the chaos and shot his commanding officer dead. The legend says that this move was instrumental in the soon-to-be rebels along with the Death Star plans escaping Tatooine. If you're getting value or entertainment out of any of my transmissions, it would mean a lot if you would join the Remnant and subscribe. Canon and Legends differ on how Garindan reacted to the droids escaping the Empire's grasp. We'll start with Canon. After making the call, he's feeling good. He thinks he'll be able to go home soon. He goes for a celebratory drink only to get a notification on his datapad that the bounty was forfeit since the targets were not apprehended. He slumps over and sulks in defeat, feeling like his return home is further away than ever. Legends gives us a more confrontational Garindan. After he reported the droids, he confronts the local Imperial prefect who set the bounty. Garindan's attitude in this version of the story is that he was paid to find them and report them, which he did. It's not on him that the stormtroopers bungled bringing them in. Looking at either continuity, it's clear that this was a major tipping point in galactic events. Had things gone ever so slightly differently, the fate of trillions of beings would be very different. Garindan's story does not end with this single pivotal moment, however. In canon, a nervous Garindan is able to avoid any blowback from the Empire. Actually, that same night, he's presented with a new opportunity. A Devaronian regular at Chalmun's, known locally as Labria, offered the Kubaz a job spying on the Rebel Alliance on behalf of Labria's employer, Derrida. This could put some credits in his pocket, but also get him some brownie points with the Empire. He instantly accepted the proposition. Oddly enough, canon stops short and doesn't give us a resolution. If Garindan succeeds in this job, he could return home. He has no thoughts of personal wealth or doing good work for the Empire at this time. If he failed, he'd be stranded on Tatooine and have a hard time finding more work in the spy trade. Legends has a lot more going on in Garindan's life. He has a run-in with Derrida in this timeline as well, though the background on that character is slightly different. For the purposes of Garindan's story, it amounts to approximately the same thing. When Derrida wanted him to spy on the Alliance was tipped off by a local boy. They moved against Garindan and questioned him about a family member that the Alliance had some interest in. The most significant part of Garindan's story is related to Darth Vader. Garindan learned that the farm boy who fled with the wanted droids had sold a landspeeder to pay for the passage. The buyer of the landspeeder was questioned and the information was sold to the Empire. Darth Vader put the pieces together to identify the rebel pilot who destroyed the Death Star was named Skywalker. Sometime after the Battle of Yavin, Garindan traveled to Hoth. He was hired by a band of pirates to find some Jedi that a group of Jedi hunters were looking for. Garindan took the credits, took the info that they had, and then killed a lot of them. He sold the intel to the Jedi hunters and double-dipped on the deal. What could be a very cool story is fairly sparse on the details, which is starting to feel like a theme on this character. Why are the story threads not being tied off? There is no definitive ending in this story in the Legends continuity either, though a lot of fans speculate that he retired rich. He doesn't have any family tie-ins or baggage of slavery from his canon story, and his Legends tales are all about double dealings. While filming A New Hope, Garindan was portrayed by stunt actor Sadie Eden, who also played several Cantina aliens. Her expressive physical performances brought these briefly appearing characters to life to capture the imaginations of generations of fans. To get the odd-sounding voice, the crew at ILM had some fun. They took some clips of silver screen legend John Wayne and skewed them to be unrecognizably alien. This little detail was revealed by sound designer Ben Burt years after Wayne's death in Star Wars Insider magazine. The look of Garindan was closely based on a sketch from one of the most prolific concept artists of all time, Ralph McQuarrie. Like many of the creatures created for A New Hope, there was no name or backstory attached. He was simply called Imperial Spy. The name Garindan and even his nickname Long Snoot were added way after the fact. He was first fleshed out, although not very deeply, in 1995's anthology Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina. He doesn't get his own story, but appears in Empire Blues, the Devaronian's Tale, by Daniel Keyes Moran. The incredibly talented Delilah S. Dawson would write for the character, bringing their backstory into canon in 2017's From a Certain Point of View, in a short called The Secrets of Long Snoot. The more recent version makes the Kubaz a much more sympathetic character being stuck under the heel of the dominating empire. Check out this transmission next to hear all about the Devaronian Labria, whose story Garindan got his Legends debut in.